In a world of increasingly dumb news.
I love curries.
Show us your saxophone.
All of us eat raw onion occasionally.
What's your favourite type of lettuce?
Viva Las Parks!
Only one podcast promises to fight the stupidity. This is News Fighters, where we fight the news so you don't have to.
Hello and welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of News Fighters, the podcast for news junkies and political hate watchers to get their daily-ish fix of what's happening in Australia. At News Fighters, we aim to shove the entire 24/7 news cycle right into your ear holes in less than 10 minutes a day. Now, it's Wednesday, February 20th, 2019. Let's get down to business with the biggest political story of the last couple of days, Mathias Cormann and his bargain Asian holiday.
The Finance Minister, Mathias Cormann, says he forgot to pay more than $2,500 for a family trip to Singapore.
Finance Minister Mathias Cormann says he had no idea he hadn't paid for a family holiday, which he'd booked through a travel company.
He claims he wasn't aware he hadn't been charged.
Don't you hate it when that happens? When you don't even notice if you paid for a $3,000 holiday and then you go on the holiday anyway? I know I do. It happened to me twice last year. Anyways, how did Cormann try and shake it off?
There was a stuff-up, which is embarrassing and which, I obviously regret.
Yes, a stuff-up, or as Sky News' Chris Kenny described it.
This is some kind of Singapore sling.
And that makes no sense at all. But anyway, how exactly did this happen?
He booked these return flights for himself, his wife and his 2 children through the travel company Hello World. But due to an admin error, he wasn't actually charged from this.
Oh yes, an admin error. Now, I don't know about you, but normally with an admin error, what happens is eBay or Amazon will accidentally send you, say, 3 dildos and a packet of burger rings instead of the book you ordered. But you never don't get charged for it. Anyway, Cormann wound up getting grilled like a Belgian sausage at Senate Estimates yesterday, where he revealed the very interesting way he goes about booking his international holidays.
Did you personally book it?
Yes.
With whom did you speak?
With Mr. Burns.
You spoke with Mr. Burns,
Yep.
director. So he's the managing director, isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Of an ASX-listed company, and he took your travel booking.
Well, I made arrangements through him.
Sure, and who do you call when your iPad isn't working? Tim Cook? I suppose you have Colonel Sanders' number on speed dial for when you're trying to fry chicken. Wait a second, what was his name again?
Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns, eh? Here's a recording of what happened when we tried to call him.
Ahoy, ahoy? No, you have the wrong number. I suspect you need more practice working your telephone machine.
Okay, Mathias, so how did you come to call the CEO of this travel company?
I've got a close personal relationship with Mr. Burns, and I don't think it's unusual to ask somebody who owns a business to sell products and services to you on commercial terms.
Okay, so not only are they
good mates,
the relationship goes quite a bit deeper.
Mr. Burns is an honorary Liberal treasurer, friends with people such as Joe Hockey. He and his company donate to the Liberal Party, splashing more than $500,000.
Ugh, what a waste. Being friends with Joe Hockey. Ugh. But that's not the only interesting fact about Andrew Burns. Turns out he has a smashing legacy around Canberra.
Mr. Burns is famously accused of breaking a marble table in Parliament House after the leadership spill in 2015.
Senate Estimates heard yesterday the table served as an impromptu dance floor during Mr. Abbott's send-off drinks.
Yes, that's right. Mr. Burns is accused of smashing Tony Abbott's marble table at his farewell party, which Tony Abbott personally had to pay $2,000 to replace. So maybe this Mr. Burns guy isn't half bad. Anyways, back to Senate Estimates. Now, Mathias, talk us through the billing procedure for your trip, because it doesn't sound like you had to provide 2-factor authentication for the transaction.
I made a booking through Hello World, engaging with Mr. Burns, that is right, and I provided my credit card details, and I asked for payment to be made, and I was assured that this would happen.
Okay, so let's get this straight. You ring your friend, an old mate, Liberal Party treasurer and donor to the party, ask for a flight to Singapore, and then you give him your credit card number over the phone and expect to be charged. Right. Okay, Then what happened?
Instead, the flights were charged to the employees and family account of Hello World.
Oh, whoops, accidentally put Mathias through on the family account. Oh, how did that happen? Jeez. Anyways, Mathias, now, back to the bit where you were telling your old mate over the phone your credit card number.
Having provided the credit card details, having given the instruction for the payment to be deducted, I thought that had happened. I know that the question is going to be asked, didn't you keep an eye on your credit card? I should have. It's the truthful answer.
Okay, so if you ever want proof that our politicians are overpaid, this senator makes so much money that he didn't even notice that he hadn't been charged for a $3,000 holiday. But that's not his only excuse.
My experience in general terms, if I have forgotten to pay something, I do get reminder notices. It does happen, sadly, it can happen from time to time when you're on the road a lot, but I did not receive any reminder notices.
Okay, let's break that down. So this is the Finance Minister of Australia telling us he's so bad with bills that he gets reminder notices in the mail. The man in charge of government expenditure, financial management, and paying our public servants just casually letting fly if he gets to pay his bills sometimes. And on top of that, he actually expects to get a reminder notice from an old mate he just chatted to on the phone. And just when you thought things couldn't get any fishier,
Nine Newspapers has revealed a travel company paid nearly $3,000 for his flight bill within weeks of its subsidiary winning a $1 billion contract from his department.
The next month, the subsidiary of Hello World was awarded a government contract worth close to $1 billion.
Yep, cool, totally normal for a normal principled democracy. Luckily, we had Australian columnist Paul Kelly on hand at Sky News with the perfect explanation.
So it looks bad.
Yeah, it does.
But I think unless we get some more information, then I think this is more a coincidence rather than anything else.
Yes, that's right. It's all a massive coincidence, and we're not implying Mathias Cormann or his department did anything improper, illegal, or wrong, as Cormann repeatedly pointed out himself at Senate estimates.
It was completely unconnected to anything else that was going on that I was not involved in. I had no involvement. I had no visibility of the process that took place. In relation to procurement processes, the stock standard approach that I take, these are not matters that I can involve myself in any way, shape or form.
So, what was it again?
A coincidence.
When questioned about it on Neil Mitchell's 3AW show, interim Prime Minister Scott Morrison immediately went into Clark and Dawe mode.
But he did take free tickets, didn't he?
Well, no, he didn't. He thought he was paying for them. And,
Who paid for them?
He has paid. He has.
But he has after he got caught.
Because he wasn't aware. What more can he do?
Well, he could not have taken the free tickets in the first place.
But he didn't take free tickets.
Scott Morrison, there seems to be a degree of chaos around the taxation reform discussion.
No, there doesn't, Brian. No, you're wrong.
Well, I think people are confused.
Well, you're wrong, Brian.
Meanwhile, Defence Minister Christopher Pyne went on Channel 7's The Morning Show, where he also faced some hard questions about air travel from Larry Emder.
OK, what would be your name in Top Gun?
Viper.
Yep, hard-hitting stuff. Now, this is the second travel expense controversy that's dogged Cormann in as many months. After all this airplane controversy, I wouldn't be surprised if we hear him say he wants to...
Get to the chopper!
Well, thanks for listening. I'm Dylan Bain, and that's the first episode of Newsfighters done. Matthias, how do you think it went?
Dylan, you son of a bitch.
Well, stay tuned for hopefully more Newsfighters coming to your earhole soon. In the meantime, subscribe on your favourite podcasting app, drop us a line via email at podcast@newsfighters.com, or follow us on Twitter @NewsFightersPod. Keep fighting, and bye for now.
This is News Fighters, where we fight the news so you don't have to.